Hello again, it's Professor Lucien, and this is Lecture 7 for Safety 380, Introduction to Occupational Safety and Health. Building off of Lecture 6, in which I introduced the OSHA Act and some of the regulatory history that goes with OSHA. Also, I added a few things to the course website. There was just an announcement right before I started this for some rulemaking changes or some rule changes to the hazard communication standard, and that was put out by the Biden administration on behalf of the Secretary of OSHA. So check that out. It's just interesting that I recorded that and I posted it, and this thing came up. I also want to let you know that I will be posting, separate from the lectures, a several part series on a tour of the OSHA website. So one thing with this particular lecture is I do want you to go check out the OSHA website. I'm going to show some pictures and things like that, but I am going to be providing you a tour, a live tour, sort of a broad one, and then to focus on a few elements. And hopefully that'll help you just get a little bit of insight to how to use that website, especially since we'll be using it for certain projects in this course. Along with that, I'd like to talk about some updated data I collected on the funding and staffing of OSHA. Here's the OSHA webpage. I do want you to check this out. And just kind of look around. Just kind of look at some of the titles, how it's laid out. It's quite different from my first series of videos I'd created. So it'll be an updated, more condensed tour, if you will. So let's think about or talk about the different types of OSHA programs that are out there. Because there's federal OSHA, and some states just run based on the federal design. But under the OSHA Act, and actually under the CFR as well, states can petition the Secretary of OSHA to develop their own state OSHA program. And about half of the states in our union have done that. And they provide some of their own funding for OSHA. But what it does is I think they're audited like every 5 years or something, and they have to demonstrate that their methods, their enforcement, their rulemaking is as stringent or more stringent than the federal requirements and regulations. So they adopt a lot of the federal regulations, but they are given the ability to develop their own. And the importance of that is that a state, each state each state has its primary industries, and there are hazards that are known within those industries. Those states are allowed to customize their OSHA rulemaking and their enforcement around those things that tend to harm their workplaces. And so state-run OSHA programs tend to have more success. I should say success. Employers in states with OSHA run programs tend to have better success, because the enforcement, the education is all built around their industry. I like to speak directly from my experience in working with Minnesota OSHA, because it is a state-run program. And now that I'm in Wisconsin now, I've got to experience the federal side. And it just seems like there are less barriers. There's more flexibility control in Minnesota than in Wisconsin, because in Wisconsin, they have to take their orders from the region, which is from up above, whereas in Minnesota, it's like they're more of a partner with federal OSHA. I'm going to have you go to the OSHA website for this week's assignment and kind of compare the two programs, because we are very similar geographically. I think there are many similarities industry-wise between Minnesota and Wisconsin. So it's an interesting case study if you're to compare how each one does and what sort of citations, what kind of inspections occur. So in Wisconsin, we've got 4 area or regional offices, sometimes called area offices. And I'm going to have you look that kind of stuff up, and you can see what those offices provide versus what you find in Minnesota. They've reduced it down to just 2 major offices, one in St. Paul, one in Duluth. I worked out of the St. Paul office. And they're housed under the Department of Labor and Industry. So that may actually be something that provides them some additional resources. But I want you to compare the two and see how it's different. I think you'll find more information, more educational programs, things like that from a state-run program than a federal. The darkened states are the ones that are state-run programs. So when you sometimes read of new initiatives, you'll hear it from California, Oregon, Washington, Michigan, all very active state programs. Minnesota falls into that as well. You see a couple weird colored ones: Illinois, New York, Connecticut. So they have sort of a hybrid system. Some of their stuff is federal, some is state, but it's not the perfect division. Under Section 18 of the OSHA Act is where it gives state jurisdiction and the development of state plans. I'm not expecting you to memorize this. I'm not even expecting you to know it's Section 18. I just want you to know that under the original OSHA Act, which we really only talked about Section 5, which was duties, that it was actually in the original Act about having state jurisdiction. And then we also find additional, more detailed information under 29 CFR 1902. There's not a lot here. There are, A, B, C, and D parts, and they kind of just break out the basics. In my tour, I'm going to break down and show you some additional, I don't want to call it behind the scenes, but it's sort of administrative memo and practice manuals, kind of like their playbook, and how we can see what sort of checks, what I's do they have to dot, which T's do they have to cross in order to do what they do. That's probably the best way to put it. And I don't expect you to memorize this as well, just to know it exists. This was an old slide, and it's based on data from either 2011 to 2014. I think that's what we have here. And we'll compare it to the next slide. So the first bullet indicates that, 30 years from 1981, so that was 2011, the number of workplaces doubled to 9 million. And the number of workers rose from 73.4 million to 129.4. I think in lecture 6, I ventured a guess, and I think I was probably way off. We're seeing basically a doubling in that 30 years. The total inspectors in 2011 was about 2,200. They serviced, and you can see the breakdown there. The number I want you to remember is the estimated coverage is one compliance officer, which is a COSHO, Compliance, Safety, and Health Officer, one COSHO per 59,000 workers, or per 3,600 work sites. And then you can see the total inspections in 2014 was right around 83, and that includes both Fed and state. Sometimes on the OSHA website, they only report the Fed, which is about just around 1%. So in 1 year, based on the coverage in 2014, OSHA was able to only reach 1% of all workplaces. Which, if we were to extrapolate that out, if new workplaces didn't come into the mix, it would take OSHA 100 years to go to each workplace. But workplaces open, they close, things like that. So as you can see, what are the odds of being inspected? In best odds, it's 1 in 100. In realistic terms, depending on the industry and the size where you're located, it could be 1 in 1,000, depending. And so some companies will never see OSHA. Others see it more frequently because of the work they do. And in a future lecture, we'll talk about national emphasis programs and local emphasis programs. I did a quick search, and OSHA still is undermanned and underfunded. And these are quotes from some NBC news sites, indicating that there are now only approximately 1,850 inspectors for 130 million workers, 8 million workplaces, one compliance officer for every 70,000 workers. Remember, it was 59 before. So the odds are even less. It's under 1% now. It shows right here the approximate number of inspections. I'm assuming this is federal only. Under George W. Bush, which I believe was 2000 to 2008. Obama, which was 2008 to 2016. And the Trump administration, which just wrapped up recently. And you can see that under the most recent administration, it had gone down by about 5,500, which is about 1/7 of what it was. No, about 1/6. Yeah, 1/6, I think. But there is a thing here that indicates OSHA is making a difference, because as we know, pre-OSHA, there were 38 worker deaths per day. 2019 it's down to 15. So it's been cut basically in half. And the number of workers injured per 100 workers out there has gone down by about a fourth. Yeah, about a fourth. So it's still doing positive work, but we're seeing a possible decline here. A little backtracking. This is from the OSHA website. Now, I'll show you this during the tour, but it has the fiscal year 2018 expressed here, and you can see the comparison between 2013 to 2018. It was above 35, and then it dropped down to mid to low 32s, and it shows the type of inspections. I created this graph myself based on the data I could find. Shows that there's been somewhat of a decline since 2013. That was the Obama administration. It stayed pretty low. It came up a little bit. It looks like this was the transition to the Trump. He kept it the same as Obama. It went down, but he has been putting more money into it. Actually, the funding is back up to, at least in 2021, up to where it was, I think, pre-economic depression from the 2008 to 2010. So, he was putting more money into it, but sometimes I think the squeaky wheel gets the oil, and it was noted that they were losing inspectors. There weren't as many inspections. And it'll be interesting to see, because last year's Bureau of Labor Statistics data, and we'll be talking about that again in a future lecture, I think lecture 11 or something, that there was an uptick in one of the variables. We've never had that before. And, maybe it was because we had a lot less inspections. Probably not likely. Might have been just a rounding error. So let's not blame anybody, okay? And here's just more evidence that in recent, such as in 2019, we've had a drastic reduction in the number of people working for them. Of course, they weren't passing any new laws over the last 4 years, so there wasn't much more to do. The pandemic kind of shut things down as well. So, they're down 5,000 workers. Less than, 5,000 went down. We counted that. It was like 5,500 less inspections. And this is the number of federal OSHA inspectors, employment-wise, including supervisors. They don't always get out, but they can. So in 2010, it was a little over 1,000, and then it's now at 862. So every inspector does anywhere from like 50 to 100 inspections per year, typically. I know that's what I was doing in my time. So that's everything I wanted to cover. We'll keep this one a little bit short because I do want you to take a look at some of the links I provided and start exploring the website. Though once I create and post the tour, it'll make things a lot easier. You'll be able to spot things quicker. Even if you don't need to or want to, the tour should still at least give you sort of a mental map of how the OSHA website is laid out. And I'll point out some interesting, should I call it trivial? Not interesting information from the OSHA website. So I want you to know where state programs were granted, or how they were granted authority to have a state plan, some of the basics about it. Also want you to just see the actual data based on data I got from the OSHA website, but also from news sources about the funding for OSHA, how it was underfunded for quite a while, and the low, or the ratio of compliance officer to employers or employees. It hasn't been this bad in a long time, and we'll see how that reflects in injury data as we look into the future, because there's always like a 1 to 2 year delay in getting that information. So please check out the study sheets as you prepare to take the quiz. Please, I know that the weekly assignment is very simple. I think it pretty much covered all the answers in here, but I still want you to kind of look some stuff up. And so next week we'll continue talking more about the actual type of OSHA inspections, and I'll be sharing some stories I have from when I was a compliance officer.